This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he's still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Yeah, make it seem like I was a bum.
Okay, I'm going to have at it.
So typically we don't discuss other sports shows unless if we're trying to cite important information that the sports shows are giving us, like our buddies at the Pat McAfee show. But in this instance, it's something different. It involves a man that we're all too familiar with, and I feel like this is a brand new level of disrespect towards his partner. Now, there is a chance this could be fake. We're gonna let you guys interpret it for yourselves, but regardless, I felt like this warranted a conversation. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We're also conducting giveaways for the holiday season on my Instagram and on my Twitter account. Now that we get all of that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I don't think Skip Bayless needs much of an introduction. I mean, this is the man that was essentially the pioneer for the modern day sports debate show. Whether you like him or you hate him, there's one thing that you must admit is, one, he is pretty entertaining. I mean, you're not necessarily watching Skip Bayless to have more knowledge of the sport of football. For me, personally, I just watch him because I think his arguments are very comical.
I am back. What it do, baby?
I mean, I study him from the perspective of a guy that wants to take a different approach to sports commentary, but I do appreciate how memeable he is.
It's my turn!
And whether it's been good for the sports show or bad, regardless, he is one of the most influential men in sports. I mean, consistently, Skip and Shannon Undisputed are upon the top trending lists on YouTube for sports. In addition to this, Skip Bayless recently signed a new $32 million deal with Fox Sports after the success of his show with Shannon Sharpe. Prior to his successful show with Shannon Sharpe, he was credited for bringing up probably the most important anchor at ESPN, Stephen A. Smith. And they even got into like this argument over the past couple months over that we covered on the Flight Mike channel because it was more basketball centered. But there was even a point where Skip Bayless entertained the idea of returning to ESPN because ESPN offered Bayless a 4-year deal in the $30 million range, which would have reunited Bayless and Stephen A. Smith on First Take. But Skip Bayless just took whichever company paid him the most, or maybe he just really enjoyed being in Los Angeles. Regardless, he decided to stay with Fox Sports, and to be honest, I actually like Shannon Sharpe as his partner a little bit more than Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless were responsible for a lot of the most comical sports show moments that we've seen, but I'm gonna admit, I am getting kind of bored of watching two men yell at each other. And as a result, I myself kind of took a little bit of a break from watching Undisputed myself, although I have bumped into Shannon Sharpe at my gym at least 7 times over the past month. I will admit it is definitely a very interesting experience. Yes, I did tell him that I made videos on him in the past, and yeah, he could give less of a shit. But I will say this man's in incredible shape. It's very inspiring to be working out next to a human being like Shannon Sharpe, and I feel like given his achievements both on the football field, in addition to the Super Bowls he's won, and the fact that he is a top 5 tight end in terms of passing yards accumulated throughout his career, and the longevity of his career, what he was able to do off of the football field, Shannon Sharpe definitely deserves our respect. And I think that's what my issue has been recently with Undisputed, because there are times where Skip Bayless does disrespect Shannon Sharpe. Now look, I do acknowledge that there are times where this is clearly fake. 2 angry dudes yelling at each other, leaking onto social media, getting Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe to trend all over Twitter sounds like an excellent marketing strategy. However, there are moments where I'm not necessarily sure if these are so fake anymore. The very first instance of this is when Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe were arguing about Baker Mayfield on November 21st, 2022. And take a look at this.
I got the floor. Because all you do is bring up those 11 games. All you do is go back and talk about when he was a rookie and won 7 games.
So in the very beginning, man, I just think this is just the way they do their show. You know, relatively scripted for the most part. I mean, Skip Bayless is playing his archetype as the annoying sports anchor that isn't really taking your argument very seriously because he doesn't agree with it. But watch this. It gets a little bit more intense from here.
Baker Mayfield is dead last in 2022 in QBR.
Blah, blah,
He's
blah.
dead last. I don't care. Blah, 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 blah.
So you could see, man, like at you're talking to another man about anything and you're providing factual data consistently, you're giving statistics about why Baker Mayfield has been terrible, which to Shannon Sharpe's credit, up until that point, Baker Mayfield was still on the Carolina Panthers. He was playing pretty terribly, and all your co-host is doing is saying blah, 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 blah. Obviously, this is going to irritate you a little bit. Now, part of me still feels like this was kind of scripted, to be honest, but...
You gonna let me talk? Because that's what you do.
If you'll stay on point on questions.
You never stay on point.
Okay, I'm about to stay on point. Hey, all right.
That's right.
Spew all your hate.
I'm a spew it
your
all.
Baker hates.
For the most part, I think it's more of the same here, but they get a little personal around this point in regards to each other's importance to the show.
I'm gonna let the world know exactly what he is.
Oh, you have more Twitter followers.
Don't worry about. Hold on. We talk about Twitter, and we come out here and discuss topics that you tweeted. Okay. So don't give me about that Twitter stuff. You can talk about my followers all you want. You talk about my Twitter followers. That's what I know. I got it, and I'm gonna continue to go. He's 187.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's not your turn.
Okay.
For the most part, Shannon didn't seem really angry. Like, he didn't seem personally offended, but definitely a step that I would never expect Skip to take, where he's just pretty much poking the bear at this point.
Saying, yeah, you're making all your points, but I have more Twitter followers than you.
And then Shannon argues back saying,
we're talking about the stuff you tweet out. It's getting kind of old at this point.
which I think a lot goes into what topics you have to bring onto a show. It's not as easy as most people would expect. I mean, I myself am very guilty of the amount of Baker Mayfield videos I made in the past year. It's a hot topic. People really care about it. But this isn't even what made me want to make this video. I think a new level was reached today when Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe were talking about Tom Brady. Now, again, I acknowledge there's a world where this could be fake, though they could potentially get a lot of clout. I can't tell. I honestly felt like this was a personal attack that Shannon Sharpe wasn't cool with, but you could let me know in the comment section what you think. Topic of discussion this time is Tom Brady.
This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he's still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Yeah, that's what you
That's
do.
the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No,
yeah, I did what
I
I
never
did.
said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I
so
got 3
what?
Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
There you can see, man, this is significantly more heated from the very beginning. Skip Bayless is comparing Shannon Sharpe to Tom Brady. First of all, I think it's really messed up to compare any player in the NFL to Tom Brady's longevity. I think what he's been able to do in his career, playing up until this point, and the fact that he is considering testing free agency, which, by the way, we have a video coming out for you guys this week about that, is phenomenal. Is not something that you should expect the average player to do. It's not something you should expect some of the greatest players in NFL history to do. I mean, we are all looking at Aaron Rodgers, wondering if Aaron Rodgers is going to play until the age of 45, which, by the way, we have a video on how Jordan Love feels about that coming to you guys later on this week. But man, in the very beginning, you could see Shannon Sharpe is pissed. I mean, Skip Bayless is comparing him to Tom Brady. Shannon Sharpe's like, yo, I won 3 Super Bowls. I'm in the NFL Hall of Fame. Give me my respect. Honestly, rightfully so. But it gets way, way, way more heated. Look at this.
Way better than you were.
I'm better than you. See what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal
Put your
shot.
glasses back on.
You could see, man, you know, this is way different than the first clip I showed you. You see, like, Shannon Sharpe's even saying you would take a personal attack at me just so you could prove you're right about Tom Brady. You know, this is a man he comes to work with every day. This is a man that these two together are the most popular sports show in America. His reaction, his facial expression, I don't think this is something that could be faked. And if it is, then Shannon Sharpe needs to get out of sports shows and get into movies, because look at this man's face right now. Like, look at how upset he is right now, and rightfully so. How the hell could you compare Tom Brady, a quarterback in the NFL, to Shannon Sharpe, who plays tight end? That might be a bold take. I don't think anyone could play tight end until the age of 45. You're getting hit significantly more as a tight end. You take way more contact as a tight end. But regardless, Skip Bayless's complete disrespect for his partner is definitely completely ludicrous to me. This is something that I don't want to see in a sports show. Yeah, yelling at each other is funny. Yeah, I get it. It's what gets the viewers excited and laughing. But this is definitely a little bit too far. Maybe I'm too sensitive, but
You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you just
Go ahead.
you disrespect him. It's just so.
So
You know what? It's beneath your
You would
dignity.
disrespect me to support him.
No.
you could tell Skip Bayless doesn't even know how to respond to this because maybe he even realizes that he's going a bit too far. And that's the thing about Skip. Like, I understand when your brand is consistently pushing the boundaries over and over and over again, it's easy to get lost in the sauce. I could understand that. Skip Bayless has said a lot of messed up shit on his show in the past, including saying Dak Prescott doesn't have the right to be depressed because he's the star quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys after his brother committed suicide. So he said a lot of off the wall and he said a lot of wacky stuff too. And it seems like this is a point where his partner is actually pissed at him. And on top of that, he doesn't have much to say in return to him. Let's finish up this clip.
I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's by far.
Have it.
Okay,
Take off,
I'm
bro.
going to have at it because I'm going to have at you because what happened yesterday?
So at the very end, it looks like they centered the conversation, and Shannon Sharpe didn't really seem to be that happy from that point on. I understand putting on a show for the fans. I understand yelling at each other is definitely part of the Undisputed brand. You should never throw your partner under the bus on live TV, because at the end of the day, the more people respect Shannon Sharpe, the better your show does from a prestige point of view. If you're consistently telling your audience that Shannon Sharpe's achievements mean nothing, he is way worse than Tom Brady ever was, which you can't make that argument. It's completely different positions. What he's achieved at the tight end level is literally within 0.1% tier of tight ends that come into the NFL, maybe even crazier. It's a concept in the WWE we see a lot, and I don't really watch wrestling anymore, but I am very familiar with the way they do their marketing and the way they do their promotions because I'm in the business of marketing more or less. And typically, whenever you're in this business, the first thing they tell you is a good promo is when obviously there's a face and a heel, a good guy and a bad guy in wrestling, but the bad guy will hype up the good guy as he's talking trash to him, and vice versa. The bad guy will say, I'm facing off against a 3-time WWE champion that was able to do X, Y, and Z, but he's still not good enough to defeat me. He's hyping up the man that he's about to face off. And I think that's what Skip Bayless needs to do here a little bit more. At the end of the day, he achieved what he wanted to achieve. He got a viral clip out of it. And don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily know if this is fake or real. You could let me know in the comment section down below. I just know if I ran a show, it would be a little bit different personally, especially if I had a man of Shannon Sharpe's stature here. Well, that's my take on the matter. Maybe you see it in a different way. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.